everybody, it's Allison. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to the first video that I've done in quite a while, or at least it seems like quite a while. Today we are going to be looking at this card that I made using some new products from Picket Fence Studios. I was lucky enough to guest design for them during March, and this is one of the cards that I created, so I just wanted to share the process with you. All right, I'm going to start with just showing you some of the products we'll be using. These are the Pint-Sized paper Pouncers from Picket Fence. You may have seen me use these in previous videos. I use those white ones for my white pigment ink, my Versamark. This is the set of neutrals, and I'm definitely going to be using that black one for my black pigment ink. And these are the bright rainbows. Now, these two sets are new to me. Picket Fence was generous enough to send these to me. So thank you very much. I'm very excited. And this is how I'm going to store these. This is a nail polish holder. And we all know that I do not have nail polish. But I like to shop in the bath section of the container store because they have really fun containers for craft supplies. All right, here's another supply. This is the paper inking palette, and this is very similar to the Wildflower grip mats, but this one is 10 by 10, so it is bigger than the biggest Wildflower mat, but it works very much the same. I have put it onto my craft mat, and now I have a piece of A2 paper on there, and we're going to stencil. This is the Indian Summer 6x8 stencil. So again, this 10 by 10 mat is great for this really large stencil. And I have lined this stencil up on my piece of A2 paper so that you'll see in a minute there's basically going to be 5 stripes going across this panel. And I'm using my Rainbow Splash inks. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and you'll see I have my Pouncers ready to go. So I'm going to start with my lightest color, yellow, first. And I like to start with the lighter color first because then I don't need to worry about cleaning it before moving on to the darker yellow. So you'll see I'm just going to pounce the ink basically onto one stripe of these flowers. There's several ways to look at this pattern, but when I looked at it, I saw rows of flowers. So I'm basically going to use one color for each row of flowers. So you'll see I have my darker yellow row up top, and now I can move on to my green row. And using these Pouncers is so easy, and I wasn't really trying to blend the colors too much, but they do, where they overlap, they do end up blending pretty well. So now I am using one of my blue colors. I think this is my lighter blue color again, so I don't need to worry about moving from dark to light. This way I can move from light to dark. Yeah, so here's the darker color. So it's just really fast and easy to use these Pouncers. And here we go with the panel all finished. So I'll zoom in so you can see it. All right, so now we're going to move on to the stamping. This is an old set, or older anyway, ways to say happy anniversary. This is for my stash. And I'm using the wine bottle from this set. And I have my mini MISTI with my Wildflower grip mat in there. And I'm going to use the lighter color blue ink that I used before to ink up this wine bottle. Now I'm obviously using this wine bottle as the vase or bottle to hold my bouquet of flowers. Now here I'm coming in with the darker color blue on the very bottom, and I'm going to take my Pouncer and kind of try to just blend that out so I don't get a harsh line. And you'll see in a bit how I ended up shading the bottle. I decided not to try shading it with the actual inks. This is a new stamp set. This is the Basket of Wildflowers, and this is where I'm going to pull flowers to make my bouquet. Now you'll see I'll line it up with the top of the wine bottle, but if I were to stamp it now, it would just make a mess. You would see the bottom of the stems coming, on top of the bottle. So I just have a little piece of masking paper. Now you could use washi tape, you could use a Post-it note. It doesn't have to be anything fancy because it's just basically covering that straight line at the top of that bottle. And now I can stamp my flowers, and I don't need to worry about the stems, making a mess below that top line of the bottle. Now I'm taking another flower from that set, and I really just wanted to, make the bouquet a little bit bigger. So now I'm improvising, and I'm going to stamp that other flower. And by the way, I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink because I will be coloring these flowers with my Copic markers. Now here's another stamp from the set, and for this particular one, I only want the stem of this one. So I'm trying to kind of curve it so it's coming out from the top of the bottle. And I decided it would be easier to make that curve once it was stuck to the lid of my MISTI. So there you'll see that I could make that curve. And now I'm just going to ink up that stem. So just making sure it's not stamping any of the flowers. And now I have this little single flower. Again, these are all from that same stamp set that I showed you. And now I can stamp that single flower. And now I will reveal what we have. So that masking paper really comes in handy. And now it looks like all of these flowers are coming out of this bottle. So here I had mentioned I was going to shade my bottle with my markers. So this is what I'm doing right now. And I think it turned out pretty well. Now, one thing I didn't show is I do shade the very top of the bottle so it actually looks more like a wine bottle. And you'll see that right here. So obviously I did quite a bit off camera. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through what we have here. Now, I am playing around with some sequins, and look at these fun sequin mixes that Picket Fence has. I love these little containers. So this is a mix of yellows, and I'm going to start playing around with placement. But here in the actual image, you can see I colored my flowers with my Copics. The Feel Better sentiment comes from that same stamp set that the flowers came from. And I cut out the image with that. The arch shape is from the new basic die cutting set 1, which is a huge set of really cool dies. There's kind of a window shape and some ovals, and just it's a really cool, really big set. And finally, I added some shimmer to the flowers with some Midas Touch shimmer pen from Nuvo, from Tonic Studios. And again, you can see me just messing around with my sequin placement. So here is what the final card looks like. And after all of that, I really only added 3 sequins. I love how colorful this card is. And I do think that this cheerful card would make anybody feel better. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I've been absent lately. Life has just kind of gotten in the way, and I'm going to do my best to get back on track, and I hope you'll join me for more. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.